Sunday night clear, lows in the lower to mid 40s. For your Monday, partly sunny, highs in the mid 60s, and Tuesday, partly cloudy with a high of 60 degrees as well. Right now, it's partly cloudy across the listening area as we start this Friday morning. Right now, my map a bit slow to load. Hopefully this fires up in just a moment. Here we go. We'll get those temperatures passed along. Partly cloudy across central Illinois, though, here for this morning. In Bloomington, temperatures at 33 at the airport, 30 in Hayworth, 28 degrees in Leroy, 29 in Farmer City, 30 in Champaign, 31 in Monticello, 32 in Decatur, 31 in Mount Pulaski, 32 in Lincoln, 30 in Springfield, and 35 in East Peoria. 31, partly cloudy in Clinton. Winds are calm this morning, 88% humidity, 10 miles of visibility on this Friday. Get the latest in local weather at DeWittDailyNews.com.
From regional radio, DeWittDailyNews.com, and the WHOW app. This is local information making a difference.
Thanks for being with us here on this Friday. Coverage of news this morning is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. The Illinois Department of Transportation has announced U.S. Highway 51 between the north and south ends of Business 51 in Clinton will close starting November 8th. The closure is necessary for the Canadian National Railway to replace its crossing just north of Illinois 54 on the west edge of Clinton and is expected to last 7 to 10 days. A detour will be posted. Motorists can expect delays and should allow extra time for trips through the area to avoid the work area when feasible and use alternate routes if you can. Drivers are urged to pay close attention to changing conditions and signs in the work zones, obey posted speed limits, refrain from using mobile devices, and be alert for workers and equipment. Over the next 6 years, IDOT is planning to improve more than 3,500 miles of highway, 9 million square feet of bridge decks as a part of the Rebuild Illinois Capital Program, which is investing $33.2 billion into all modes of transportation. Accomplishments through year 2 included approximately $5.2 billion in improvement statewide on 3,020 miles of highway, 270 bridges, and 428 additional safety improvements. For IDOT District 5 updates, follow them on Twitter. The handle is at IDOT District 5, or view area construction details on the IDOT Traveler Information Map at gettingaroundillinois.com. Last year, the Clinton Board of Education approved a math intervention program for Clinton Elementary School, and the principal of that building is very pleased with the early results. At the October Board of Education meeting, Clinton Schools principals provided the board with updates on the happenings in their buildings, and Sasha Young was particularly excited to share the early results of the math intervention program in her building.
So I just wanted tonight to thank you for something you did in the spring that has brought some positivity to our building. If you remember in the spring, I submitted some data on our math scores and how we were really struggling. We needed some math interventionists. And we were approved to hire 2 math intervention teachers. And we started them at the beginning of this school year. And we worked creatively with our schedule to fit 70 students into math interventions this year. And they've been going strong for about a month now. Both of the teachers in the math intervention program are talking about how quickly some of the students are catching on to things that they thought would take them a while, and how they're just super impressed with the amount of intensive instruction that is helping the kids.
Second grade is seeing lower math scores, but Young attributes that to the fact that they have not had a normal school year yet. She reiterates her gratitude to the board for hearing them and providing them what they needed.
We see our biggest gap in second grade because they've not really had a normal school year yet. So those math skills are a little bit lower. But really, I just wanted to thank you for listening to what we needed and allowing us to hire 2 really good math teachers who have done a great job this far, and we have some really good things coming out of that program. So really just from CES, we just say thank you for the math intervention program. So.
Young explains they have 2 intervention teachers that work with 3 children from about 20 to 30 minutes. She also notes more second graders are qualified for the program right now. A Piatt County nonprofit will be under new leadership at the first of the year and recently named the successors to its outgoing leadership. Rachel Lejeune is the executive director of Willow Tree Missions in Piatt County, and on the WHOW Morning Show Thursday, told Regional Radio News they're welcoming Jill Maxey as its new executive director and Heather Denham as the new director of operations.
We're really excited to introduce them. I had announced earlier this year that I was going to be retiring from my position at the end of 2021. So we've done a little bit of restructuring internally and made some promotions and made some new hires. Sitting here with me this morning, I have Jill Maxey, and Jill has just recently been hired as the new executive director for Willow Tree Missions. And then I have Heather Denham. Heather has been our shop manager for the past several years, and she is being promoted to a director of operations position to help lead the mission forward going into the new year.
Maxey explains she recently left the University of Illinois as an architect and has been looking for a new venture. She explains through a sequence of events after she left her job at the university, she felt called to the role of executive director.
Family and I, we live here in Monticello, have been here for maybe 16 years or so. I'm an architect, as is my husband, and I used to work at U of I. And a couple years ago, left there in search of doing something different. My passion is serving people. And so one day my husband said, well, you should look into something at Willow Tree. And I said, oh, there's nothing at Willow Tree. And wouldn't you know it, the next day, the ad for the executive director popped up on social media. And Bruce said, well, here you go. Investigated that. And I, too, was aware of the new building that they had just purchased. And so I was really seeking out a volunteer opportunity for our church youth group. And then when I read through that executive position, I thought, well, why not? So it was kind of more of a being felt called to it than really kind of seeking it out. So this is a new realm for me. I feel comfortable with the building part. I'm getting that online, but a little bit nervous about the rest of it.
Maxey recognizes she has a lot of catching up to do at Willow Tree Missions, but credits the staff of the organization and also points out she's done her 40 hours of training for domestic violence and is starting to make connections in the court system and with the law enforcement agencies of Piatt County.
Sure, it is a huge learning curve. I do have some excellent role models here within Willow Tree with Rachel, and we have a grad assistant, Susan. They have both been wonderful in helping bringing me up to speed. I have just recently completed my 40 hours of domestic violence training through a group in the YWCA in Evanston, which is seems like would be a wonderful resource for us if we would need that. And have been spending some time meeting people out at the shop and meeting the support staff here, or the support team in Monticello at the courthouse and with law enforcement. And it's a pretty good program Rachel has established here already. Pretty good so far.
Denham started her time at Willow Tree Missions as a volunteer and has grown into her role as the new director of operations. She says her focus will be to be a refuge for anyone that comes to them with a need.
I'm originally from White Heath. I graduated from Monticello, and my husband and I are raising our kids here in White Heath still. I was a stay-at-home mom just looking to fill my time, and so I started volunteering at Willow Tree. And day one, I just became very passionate about it, and it just spiraled. It was eat, sleep, and breathe Willow Tree. I absolutely love it. I still love it. I'm super driven to just continue to grow the shop and reach more people. I'm excited about that. Yeah, I always say that my plate is overflowing and I really need a platter. So hiring a assistant manager to kind of help be my hands, I can take a step back and look at the overall operations. And my focus is just reaching more than just Piatt County, but other local communities, drawing them in, showing them, who we are, and just being the light of Jesus and being a refuge to anyone that comes into our shop. I'm excited to see the growth that's going to come.
Denham credits Lejeune for the leadership that she has become. She believes she's grown into her leadership role that she's about to take on.
So I think just with this new structure change, we're going to have 3 people focused on 3 very specific things that we've never had before. And with that focus is going to come growth and change. And I just see this mission exploding within the years to come. Rachel has really helped me become the leader that I am today. I would be completely comfortable behind the scenes, no one ever seeing me, never leading prayer, and Rachel really just supported me and encouraged me, and so now I'm comfortable and I'm confident.
Denham says she's particularly passionate about domestic violence trends in the youth and helping those individuals. Get more information about all things Willow Tree Missions, including their upcoming Christmas programming, by visiting willowtreemissions.org. It is 19 minutes after the hour here on this Friday morning. We start this Friday under clear skies. It's 31 degrees in Clinton. We've got plenty more to get to coming up on the WHOW Morning Show.
At Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Baum Motor Company in Farmer City, our job is to help you and solve your transportation needs. This is Scott Baum. Both in Clinton or Farmer City, we'll listen and find options for a different vehicle. Or we'll give you repair options to keep that car, truck, or SUV safe and trouble-free so you can continue with your busy schedule. If it has to do with transportation, we're here to help. Visit our full-service team today in Clinton or Farmer City. Baum Chevrolet Buick, right from the start.
20 minutes after the hour this morning. Thanks for being with us today. I'm your host, Seth Lawrence, with this expanded local newscast. Governor J.B. Pritzker is in Great Britain. The governor and top 2 legislative leaders met with businesses focused on green energy projects. The governor says Illinois has been leading the way on climate change with effective policy, and the world has been paying attention.
Very proud that we were invited to go. I think it's because we passed a terrific nation-leading climate bill back in September, and then we just passed this phenomenal new REV bill that's focused on incentives for electric vehicle manufacturing in the state of Illinois.
The first part of Pritzker's trip is centered in London, where he'll meet with business leaders. The second part will be his attendance at the UN Climate Change Conference in Scotland. The Citizens Utility Board is warning all Illinoisans this winter could be a pricey one. The utility watchdog is keeping an eye on gas and electric rates and says we're facing the possibility of hundreds of dollars in higher heating bills this winter due to skyrocketing natural gas prices and aggressive utility spending. CUB spokesman Jim Chilson says supply rates went up again on November 1st, with major utilities charging about double 2020 prices.
Is all connected to problems that happened last winter, down in Texas and across the South. We had record-setting cold because of climate change, and that caused disruption in the natural gas system, and that caused limited supply at a time when demand was going through the roof. And we have needed all these months to continue to recover from that, and we're still paying high prices. So it looks like it's going to be a very, very painful winter for heating customers.
The Citizens Utility Board has launched an online help center to advise gas customers on how to soften the blow of those potentially crippling price increases. Visit cubhelpcenter.com. Farm policy discussions will be a part of the Illinois Farm Bureau resolutions process at the IFB meetings this year. There's an update from IFB Vice President Brian Duncan.
Yeah, so the committee brought forth some changes to our future farm policy section of our policy book. We had existing language on what we thought a future farm policy should look like. There were listening sessions held this year. Illinois Farm Bureau held them. Adam Nielsen went out across the state and got member input on future farm policy. I think he said around 350 members, if I remember what he told me correctly, spoke about future farm policy. And he folded that in, his notes, into suggestions for the committee, and the committee built language based on what the members' ideas were, and that's certainly the purview of the resolutions, the subcommittee. This was the the work of the APN subcommittee. And we still talk about things, the need for crop insurance and what we want to see in farm programs, dairy, disaster assistance, conservation programs. And we still talk about those things. But I think as we look at some of the language, that's a response to some of members' concerns about what they want to see in the next farm bill. So I hope that the delegates take a chance to look at this new language. We will be continuing to talk about a potential new farm bill next year, and then I think probably the writing will begin in 23. But this is kind of the first shot, and then this will go before the delegates to see how they feel about the language that's been put forth here today.
County Farm Bureau delegates will vote on the resolutions at the Illinois Farm Bureau annual meeting next month in Chicago. The challenges of getting products of any kind that have been shipped from overseas has been well documented, and that is now trickling down to almost every industry in the United States, including the automotive repair industry, where parts can be hard to find. One shop owner says it's been challenging to find what he needs on some occasions. Chuck Tucker, owner of Tucker's Automotive Repair and Tire in Godfrey, says he's watching prices go up weekly on some things.
At first, it was just kind of little things here and there, but now it's becoming the very common products. We probably have 5 or 6 cars at the shop right now that are waiting for parts that are on back order that are going to be a month out. It's getting to be a real problem. Tires are really becoming a problem. We had no price increases last year from our tire manufacturer. It's a weekly thing now.
Tucker says he has a lot of connections due to his long career in the business, so he can usually find what he needs, but he notes that when a part is in demand, he says, quote, I pay for it. Dates have been set for the 2022 Illinois Beef Expo.
Yeah, we're very excited to announce that the Illinois Beef Expo is returning to Springfield at the Illinois State Fairgrounds for 2022. It feels like coming home, pulling back the expo all together for the sales, the trade show, the junior show, all in one weekend. Last year, we did what we could and had the sales one weekend and the junior show and trade show another weekend, but we are very, very happy to be back to our usual dates and back in Springfield all together again. Those dates, Jim, is going to be Thursday, February 24th through Sunday, February 27th of 2022, the typical dates. We're still finalizing some items on the schedule and the rules, and I'm hoping to get trade show and sponsorship information out this week, but it's exciting. We're all coming back together, and we're all going to be in one location.
That's Illinois Beef Association's Mariah Rao, who says the complete schedule and updates are available at IllinoisBeefExpo.com. There's an annual look at world agriculture productivity, which indicates an increased rate from the previous year, but is it enough to keep up with growing global food demand? Rod Bain tells us more.
It's an annual look at global agricultural productivity, produced in part by Virginia Tech University and culled from USDA Economic Research Service data. And the most recent report announced at the 2021 World Food Prize Week indicates
agricultural productivity growth is not increasing as quickly as previously thought.
According to Ann Steensland of Virginia Tech, world ag productivity is currently growing at a rate of almost 1.4% annually. By comparison, estimates have that rate needing to increase over 1.7% every year from now to the year 2050 to meet continued global demand for food. Steensland says there are 2 reasons why the current production rate is behind the projected sustainable rate.
The first is a change in the methodology for calculating productivity. FAO has published new data on agricultural capital, which includes farm buildings, livestock herds, and mechanization. This data gives us a more accurate view of how we are using these inputs compared to how much we are producing.
She adds, new data on climate impacts appears to indicate global ag production growth
has slowed by 21% since 1961. In drier regions of Africa and Latin America, it is as high as 34%.
The ERS data on international ag productivity notes total factor productivity, which measures ag output produced by a combined set of factors, is up compared to inputs. Steensland explains what this means for world food and farm production.
Since the 1980s, total factor productivity growth has been the major contributor to agricultural output. The use of inputs per hectare has declined significantly. Land expansion has remained relatively stable.
Yet Steensland says around the world there are troubling trends within TFP, such as all new ag growth in sub-Saharan Africa originating from opening of land versus increased sustainable practices. She believes through recommendations such as
investing in public agricultural R&D and extension, embracing science-based and information technologies, improving infrastructure for transportation, communications, and finance, cultivating partnerships for agricultural development, food security, and economic growth, expanding and improving regional and global trade, and reducing post-harvest loss and food waste.
farmers of all scales throughout the world can increase individual and global ag productivity. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
It is 29 minutes after the hour here on this Friday. Coverage of news today is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. 31 degrees, partly cloudy in Clinton on this Friday. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news on the way and a look at local sports as well. A preview of the Monticello second round matchup this Saturday in Benton next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington.